What up, my freaks? RuinousInsight here with part 2 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Arkhan the Hat campaign. So as we saw last time, we had a fairly strong start destroying the hated Greybeards prospectors in the mountains, though they do have a single lord remaining. The faction is done. They might jump over or they might attack, I'm not entirely sure. They're programmed to attack the next settlement, but the thing is, Arkhan is out here now, which means he's blocking the settlement, which means they might not try it. I'm actually curious to test out how exactly the AI will behave in this situation. In the last several campaigns, I've been putting lords outside of settlements like this in order to prevent the siege, and that is absolute goal here. Now, as for what we're going to do next turn, as soon as Arkhan can move again, we're going directly for Martek and the massive numbers of peasants and Bretonians there. Granted, we are hurt, but I'm not so certain that the enemy has too much of a chance, mostly due to the fact that the peasant bowmen and their relatively low melee defense has no chance against wolves, bats, or crypt ghouls, or hex raids. Plus we have an artillery piece, so that's pretty nice as well. Before we get to the next turn, however, unless I'm mistaken, there's a little bit of diplomacy to do. And Strigos Empire has a 4.5 on the military agreement, but we don't want that. What we want to do is this. Everything we can, and then get as much money from them as possible. 3,000 isn't so bad. The alternative would be to try to get one thing from them, like this, and get 1,500 for it. I think combining them both might be the better option. 2.5k, eh? And then 3k for the trade agreement. We could wait a little. They might be willing to give us more for the trade agreement next turn, though it's no guarantee. We'd be playing with about 500 money, which isn't horrible, to be fair. Yeah, you know what? I think we'll do this, so we'll hold off on the trade agreement for now. Granted, everybody nearby is going to hate us for aligning with Strigos, but fact is, they're probably going to die. And we're not going to bother trying to save them, we just want the money from them. So, propose offer, like so. And we'll see about the trade agreement after. We don't want them to become our vassal, mostly because they're holding territory that we will probably want somewhere up here. I guess we could vassalize them, but honestly I'd prefer to do that to the Drakenhof Conclave, if that's a possibility. Plus it tickles me as to the idea of how many would not appreciate that. Anyway, next up, let us build a temporary building. Now we could go for the open graves here. And I think maybe that's what we do. We go for the open graves, it's gonna cost us 500 and we'll take 3 turns to heal up. We'll use it to, or build up rather, we'll use it to build 4 more skeleton archers in King Jocht's army, and 2 more Nehekar warriors, at which point we'll delete both of these open graves and replace them with other buildings. I think that'll work. Otherwise, I don't think there is anything else to do this turn, so Arkhan can continue his advance. Yes, alright, we're good. Let's get to it. Let's see what exactly this guy does. I remain quite curious. And I'm sure so does the hat. Or does the hat know all? Alright, Khemri, where are you, Greybeards prospectors? I cannot wait for you to be dead and gone, although I suppose the unfortunate aspect of that will be the fact that we can bully you no longer. Alrighty, underway interception, so I have no idea where exactly they went. Okay, well, we're obviously gonna auto-resolve you. And 0 losses, lovely. Too bad we didn't get any items or anything from that, but with that, the faction dies, and oh, hello. Huh. That's kind of interesting. Wait, enemy killed in battle, faction destroyed, beautiful. Cultist of Assyrian, yes. Al-Haik has been taken by the Strigos Empire. I do wonder if Rapunzel and the Chevalier de Lyonesse will be able to retake that. We might want to actually hover around here, wait until Rapunzel takes this, immediately fall upon her armies, destroy them, and then destroy Rapunzel altogether, which would also at the same time reveal Sartosa, as I believe you can see Sartosa from the coast of Araby, or from Phyrus. Yes. Alrighty, well, we have a plan, or at least something resembling a plan. Next up, Arkhan. What do we get to you, buddy? You got a point. We will get vengeful and stuff eventually, and we probably will want to start saving points for it, but for now... Let's see, we have Raised Dead, we have Invocation of Nehek, we really want Curse of Undeath, but I guess for now we'll get Life Leeching. Yeah. Just because we'll be casting a decent amount of spells and we will want it transferred to all of our units. So life leeching it is, and I know I said I was gonna go for Root Marcher, but we're about to fight and we need, potentially, some help. Potentially. And then we're gonna switch to Stance Corrupted Dynasties, and we're going to try this out to see if the White Kings do indeed work. This also increases the weapon strength for Vampiric units, and oh, that's interesting. And decreases income from all buildings faction-wide, but increases casualty replenishment faction-wide. So if we do this for a turn, basically all of our armies at the same time, they could heal up quite a bit. Kind of interesting. King Jocked. Now, you have to wait for at least 2 turns, so I think what we'll do is we're going to send you around this way. Because we can generate regular units here, but because this is a suitable climate, as in desert, we can generate them in 1 turn rather than 2. So we'll build 1 more Skeleton Warrior, 2 more Skeleton Spears, and then we'll move here, build more, then we'll move to Martek, and we'll have another 20 stack ready by then. And then they can separate, I suppose. Or we could use them to reinforce. It really depends on what is needed. Either way, we're about to attack you, but let's double check diplomacy to see if they're at war with anybody. And if we could get a... Oh, hello, Drakenhof Conclave. Ooh, close to defensive alliance. We do want that as fast as possible. Awakened are currently fighting the Vampire Coast Mutineers. What if we join your war against this? Nah, damn, no dice. What about Drakenhof Conclave? It'll happen eventually, I know, but I'd really like to start collecting allegiance as fast and as early as possible, because I want all those Vampire Counts and Vampire Coast units in our armies. Looks like Thegan's Errantry. Yes, yeah, okay. I guess we're just gonna have to straight up declare war on them. Okay, yes, the Awakened. I know, game, I know. We're planning it, don't you worry. Let's get you, Franciscus, declare war. And, ooh. Wait a second, do we attack you outside the settlement or in the settlement? The question is, what would we benefit more from? Probably outside the settlement. And the reason for that is that they would then move to reinforce Franciscus in a pretty big blob, most likely, which would allow our Casket of Souls more time to rip them apart. So this is what we're doing. Yes. I didn't accidentally declare war on the wrong faction, did I? No, we're not at war with anybody, okay. I was concerned there for a second. Declare war. Yes. And away we go. Alrighty, and it'll be a Pyrrhic victory, according to this, but we shall see about that. It certainly is a lot of peasants, and ooh, and they do indeed have a field treb, but we can send the hex rates to take that out fairly quickly. And once again, with these guys coming in as reinforcements, that ain't so great for them. Here we go. Yes, you do, Command Arkhan. Yes, you do. And here we go. We do indeed have our White King raised and available, and he is on a mount as well, which is quite nice. So we could send him to fight lords if we desire to do so. He does come with sundered armor as well, so combining him, for example, with our Tomb Prince would probably work reasonably well. In fact, I'm now slightly regretting not sending him out to fight the enemy lord. Not that I think it's needed, mind you. The Hex Wraiths and the Tomb Prince, I'm sure, will be able to take care of him. Anyway, here we go, Thegan's Errantry. This will probably be the one and only battle against this particular faction. They have come to Nehekara as, well, as an errantry. This is an errantry war, so as invading barbarians. And we need to kick them out and then raise them to fight the rest of their, friends. At least Arkhan is certainly willing to do such a thing. And here we go, our Hex Wraiths are going to charge the enemy lord, going to blunt his charge. So I suppose we could have done that with our Tomb Prince. And we're going to start working on him here. Especially as he's deployed all by himself. He's already been outdone in terms of aesthetics, and he doesn't even have a hat. Look at him, wearing chainmail on your head, pathetic. What do we got here? In terms of HP, he is at about half. Our Tomb Prince took a blow or two, so took a little bit of damage, but we gotta remember that he did start off at around half HP. We can always heal him, however, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Invocation of Nehek, though we still do lack the Curse of Undeath, so the bonus healing that we would get out of that. Would actually have been nice if Arkhan also had the access to the passive of the Nehekara lore as well as the Curse of Undeath, just to make him a healing powerhouse. Alrighty, well, the enemy lord is done. He's gonna try to run away. He should, in theory, be slower than the hex rates. We'll see if they can bring him down. And now it's time for the enemy units to move onto the field, or the main enemy army. Here we go. It looks like a fairly decent bunch. 4,000 of them arrayed against us and outnumbering us fairly heavily. We're gonna pop our unit of... our Casket of Souls forward to get a few shots in there, and as we can see, a single shot from that Casket of Souls causes a peasant mob to actually just straight up rout. Also, while all this is happening, the enemy decided to move its second lord, and it suffered the same exact fate as the first, surrounded by hex wraiths and ripped apart by them, as well as our tomb prince. And the enemy is going to start firing back with the trebuchet, but that is a completely inferior artillery piece to our own, coming down into that massive blob of enemies. Now, this is, I think, not actually a good idea. While it does crazy amounts of damage, and this might be something we want to do, we are forcing the enemy to fight outside the settlement. So if a single round or a single volley from our Casket of Souls forces this army to rout, this is actually going to be of benefit to them, because they'll just move off the edge of the screen. We want to draw them in. We want to force them to fight here so we can send our dire wolves and our crypt ghouls, which are waiting around them, and then destroy them so that they can't come back, forcing us to fight them again at the settlement. This is, I guess, the negative aspect of drawing them out. I wanted to draw them out specifically so that we could fire upon them and damage them heavily with our Casket of Souls, but it looks like it's not actually really necessary in such a situation. It would be better if we could actually fought this in the settlement, but it's no big deal. It doesn't look like it's going to make much of a difference either way. Anyway, the hex wraiths are moving around. They don't really care about the enemy lords so much, but they are going to hit those field trebs as fast as they can. The enemy main army, such as it is also about to hit our front lines, but I don't imagine they're going to be able to break through. Alright, here they come, charging in. Alright, the skeletons brace and the men-at-arms have joined the fray, and these are shieldless men. Oh wow, they didn't even equip them with shields. It's just a sword. A sword and no board. That's real cheap, Bretonians. Real cheap. Alrighty, and now it's finally time for our Casket of Souls to begin firing. Once more, as we can see, it's going to start hitting those enemies, and the rest of our units are about to go as well. It looks like we're moving in with the bats, the crypt ghouls, and the dire doggos are going to start moving around the back of the enemy army. Some peasants have surrounded Arkhan, probably in jealousy of the hat, thinking that if they took the hat somehow off of him, that they might be elevated to the power of a lord or something like that. I mean, after all, they would have a better hat than their own king. Anyway, over here... yes, this is going to be the entire campaign, me talking about the hat. The hex wraiths are in the background here. They're just trying their best to keep as many enemy units from running off the field as we possibly can. We did manage to draw in a decent amount of the enemy army here, but we are still going to try to get around them with all of our piles of ghouls and our dire wolves, which are trying to head there as fast as they can go. In the meantime, the longer that it takes for these units to rout up front, probably the better, because we need the extra time. And do these guys really rush forward only now to start taking shots to the back? Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, and we finally get to watch our White King play. Now, this is nice. I actually really like the fact that we have White Kings, A, because I absolutely adore these models, but as heroes generally in vanilla at least, I pretty much never use them in vanilla. SFO's a little bit different, and they're quite a lot more useful in this. But yeah, in my Vampire Counts campaign currently ongoing, I think I only have two currently White Kings, and that's for like 15 armies or something crazy along those lines. Mostly because there's really no reason in vanilla to use them over vampires. They're just inferior in every way, in every possible way. Alrighty, well, I digress. We'll see how effective they are in SFO, and the ability to constantly have one with our army is quite nice. Looks like the enemy front line has failed to breach our lines. Go figure. We are nowhere near to the first Realm of Souls ability to heal us up, but that's fine because we don't really need the healing either, and Arkhan can substitute with a good old Invocation of the Heck. It does look like our ghouls and our direwolves have arrived in the background and are now chasing around and killing all of those peasants, as many as they can before they run off the field. The better we block the edge of the map and prevent the enemy from running, the less we'll have to deal with in terms of actually attacking the settlement right after this. And it does look like we have most of the enemy army sort of in the center. It looks like a few more are still fighting, but the chain route is here, and now not so much in terms of the fighting. There we go. Looks like our losses were fairly minimal. This unit was hurt when we started, as we can see by the healing cap. It didn't actually get hurt here. Sure, we took a little bit of damage on a few of our skeleton spears, though I do have to wonder how much of that was from friendly fire from our own skeleton archers, or rather than damage from the enemy sword and boardless peasants. Alright, well, you did a good job, Arkhan, but we're gonna speed it up. There's a lot of chasing to do. I mean, there's just so damn many units on the field, nearly 2 stacks and 4,000 units to kill. Let's see how well we can do this. I'd actually really love for that trebuchet to have been destroyed, but I think the actual units have moved off the map, and this is just the models of the actual artillery pieces being moved around by the mass of the Hex-Rays. I've actually never seen that before, huh? Interesting that the Hex-Rays have enough mass to actually move those artillery pieces. Fun stuff. Anyway, looks like we've destroyed a very, very large portion of the enemy, but as to whether it is all of them, it remains to be seen. Let's find out. I don't imagine the damage is all that much, and certainly nothing to be concerned with. Ooh, and how much kills did the Hex-Wraiths get this time around? Alrighty, very nice. Bit of a lesson learned with regards to the peasants and the fact that they just rout so incredibly fast. Can't be routing them too early, which is what makes this kind of a weird battle, by virtue of the fact that we had to wait for them to get close and then destroy them. Anyway, what do we got here? We do want to start collecting canopic jars, and this march wouldn't be of any use to us. I'm tempted to heal so that we can auto-resolve the rest of this, though. I'd prefer not to have to waste our time with fighting it again. Let's heal up, just in case. We'll get canopic jars or money next time, and this guy survives with very low HP. Oh, I should have tried harder to kill him. I just realized the bad thing about this guy surviving is the fact that he'll try to siege this right after, so we'll have to stay outside the settlement again. Oh well. We're gonna auto-resolve you. Let's see how much damage the game gives us for this. Don't do anything crazy, game. 166. Not horrible. I'll take it. Alrighty, and we will occupy the place, obviously. Lovely. Adelan Mountains are now ours. We're gonna switch back to regular stance, as there is no longer a purpose to corrupted dynasties, though it does increase our healing. I don't think at the cost of money is worth our time, at least not right now. Although the extra vampiric corruption, it's actually not needed in this territory either. What does iron do for us? Experience faction-wide and canopic jars, which is great, but we can't build it yet, so we're going to have to settle with, I think, the mortuary house for growth. On the other hand, right, first of all, we'll set up Worship of Tross so that we can move really fast at the start of next turn. But I'm almost tempted to build another Grave Hill here. Ooh, actually, the Grave Hills are quite expensive and shouldn't be deleted. So we should probably be building these everywhere. Now is probably not the time. Not for 2,000 gold, which is then another open graves, I guess. Alright, fine. We'll build 3 open graves, we'll raise all the units out of them, and then destroy them or delete them. Arkhan, is it now time to save up points? No, it's time to get Root Marcher, and then it'll be time to save up points for Vengeful and the good stuff in here afterwards. Yeah, we definitely want to get the... And we definitely want to get the Legions of Death and the Curse of Undeath pretty much immediately. Oh, casualty replenishment rate for the army as well. Yeah, so this is going to cost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 points if we want Right Hand of Nagash, but it probably isn't as much of a priority as either Legions of Death or Curse of Undeath. And then again, an extra level is probably not going to make a huge difference anyway. You are Tomb Prince. Let's get you hard to hit, I guess. Yeah, let's get you hard to hit. Keep the melee attack and melee defense relatively even. I also have to keep an eye on extra heroes at some point. We can't build any because we don't have capacity. And ooh, we have another Eternal one. More armor for all units. I like that. I like that very much. Missile resistance for all units. Spell resistance for all units. Infantry Master... Okay, that doesn't as good. Yeah, just gotta stack all of these guys that give extra spell resistance, melee resistance, and armors. Seem inferior to the previous Master skills, even if they do buff the heroes individually fairly nicely. Anyway, Lashik, I guess, is the next upgrade here. Gonna be fairly costly, but we need to get these ports in proper up and running as fast as possible, as they do generate cash, plus we'll get pottery out of this one as well. We are in Worship of Tra here currently, which gives us growth, so we should probably keep it. I was thinking we switch to Worship of Fox, but... Nah, we'll just keep it up. As it is. Anyway. Well, let's see what else we got. Land of Assassins is good. Diplomacy is good, so I think we're ready to end the turn. And we're gonna see what's gonna happen here. Hopefully these guys start moving towards... Oh, wait. Arkhan, you need to leave this settlement. Again. Annoying. But once again, it is what it is. Alright. Skip that, end the turn. This guy's going to attack at Martek. We'll auto-resolve that. And let's hope that these guys move towards Al-Haik. I'd really prefer not to have to fight our Strigel's friends here. Let's just say they've had enough, they've had enough problems. Yeah, he's got nearly full stack, and there it is. That's what we were waiting for. Auto-resolve that. Goodbye, my friend. And that faction is destroyed. Lovely. And hey, we got a Speed of Lycos. I guess not super useful for us, but, you know, we'll turn it into something more useful at some point, I'm sure. Now the only problem with this is... if these guys declare war on us, that'll be a problem. We could, however, move towards the Rokov dynasty, and we do need heals. So we could sit here for a turn or so. Or we could start moving towards the Pools of Despair, rather. How much territory do you guys have? 3 settlements, eh? Well, we can always move back around this way. Let's send you to Eye of the Panther for now. It's a little bit closer to the Pools of Despair, I think, though it's not much of a difference anyway. And then we will move you... Ooh, actually, you know what? If Rapunz is able to reach us... I guess we could take a risk here. You know, let's take a risk. We will stay in Lashik here. And we're gonna hope that they don't suddenly declare war on us and attack us. What's the balance of power? Let's see what the likelihood of them attacking us is. They are stronger than us. So they might. I'm a little bit more inclined to take these risks with the Tomb Kings, though, because obviously they are... all these units are free and only take time to recruit, and these early game units don't really take much time at all. Let's get another, I guess, sword unit in the center line. Or another spear unit to hold the line longer. We'll probably need that for the skeleton archers. And in fact, we'll probably have to delete a few anyway, because we're running out of units. We got 2 more turns there. Sorcerer's Islands, we can upgrade you as well, though we are once again running out of cash. It's still looking pretty okay. Could have actually switched Worship of Tra to replenishment, but if we start moving next turn, which there's a decent shot that we will, we probably don't want to. So, diplomacy, first off. Nothing. How close are we to that defensive alliance with the Drakenhof Conclave? Minus 4.1, so it actually decreased. We'll wait until they get into a fight with somebody stronger than them, and then we'll join that war. Yeah, still no dice on you either. And Khemri was probably going to come for us sooner rather than later as well. Wait, did we start off at war with Khemri, or did I accidentally declare war on Khemri before? I suppose it doesn't really matter all that much. Sutra isn't particularly fond of Arkhan, so it wouldn't make sense, and we are marching over there later on. So, skip the rest of that, and turn. Alright, come on Rapons, go for a hike. Siege it, do whatever you want. Just don't go for King Jokt. And where is Rapunzel's faction? Come on, Chevalier de Lyonesse. I guess we skipped it. Alright, well, she does have a full stack now. Now, what do we have here? Hero capacity increases, Lich Priest, Tomb Prince, or Necrotect, or money. Well, taking the money would be looking to the short term, whereas taking the hero would be looking to the long term, so we probably want to go for a hero. Now, we don't have a caster for a second army, which makes me think that we probably want the extra Lich Priest. The Necrotect would be nice as well, but we have no constructs for it to benefit right now, and we already have one Tomb Prince, so I gotta go with the Lich Priest. Although, as I recall, wait, doesn't Arkhan increase the capacity of Lich Priests as well? But we're gonna need them in multiple armies, so let's get one right now. Alrighty, and just to double check. Lich King, yeah, 2 for Lich Priests. Not so bad. We might want a second priest in Arkhan's army as well, though, so that is certainly something to consider. You have Tough, which is okay, but I'd really prefer something better. But we did increase capacity, so we could delete you and get, for example, Mr. Eternal here with the 5 armor. Lich Priest of Nehekara gives us spell resistance for all units. And leadership for all units and Winds of Magic Power Reserve, and Wise gives us, 2 Canopic Jars per turn. Yes, I remember stacking this the last time I played Tomb Kings, which ain't so bad either. It does tempt me. But the thing is, Nehekara allows us to heal a little bit more, which makes me think that this guy's better off. So you are going to go away. You managed to build up units, so we're going to send you to Martek. Then we're gonna have you start recruiting. I'm recruiting more, so all of these skeleton archers and 2 more Nehekara warriors, so fare thee well to... Ah, this guy has a veterancy, but it's gonna take him a while to heal, so let's just get to you. Alright. And we'll probably delete you 2 for 2 more Nehekara warriors right after as well. And then after this is done and after we build those, we will delete. Alrighty, Arkhan, you can't reach the Pools of Despair, that's unfortunate. I was hoping to be able to do that in 1 turn, but oh well. Let's send you then in raiding stance here to the enemy territory. Get a little bit of free cash, and then we'll hit the Pools of Despair right after. We could also ignore that and head directly for the Great Desert of Araby, but the problem with that is I'd really like to be near a response. I'm a little bit regretting allying with the Strigos faction now, because this creates a problem. Either we take this and leave Al-Haik alone, but then these guys will just hold Al-Haik, especially since it's a capital. Just leave it alone for now. Oh well. It happens. There's always going to be setbacks. You are no longer needed in Worship of Tra, are you? Well, the growth is actually still needed. Nah, fine. Keep it to Worship of Tra for at least another couple of turns. We'll switch to Worship... to this Worship, I guess. Construction cost reduction when we get to the Mausoleum, which should be in 6 turns. And, well, I guess actually in 3 or 4 turns to start building and upgrading these ports as well, because we really need the, we'll really need the money. You can keep Worship of Tra, I guess, for now, because there's basically no growth in this territory otherwise, and we will want to upgrade the main territory. Anyway, building upgrade available. I take it there's no diplomacy for us as yet. There is indeed not. Alright, skip the rest of that and the turn, and we head towards the Pools of Despair. Aptly named, I'm sure. At least we'll make sure it'll be aptly named in a few seconds. Alright, Rapons, come on, stop recruiting. There she goes. Now she's sieging Al-Haik. Perfect. Well, semi-perfect. Semi by virtue of the fact that I wanted to attack this. And, oh! I was not expecting that. Who do we have here? Somebody who just attacked. Oh, well. Let's see, Skeletal Steed for Arkhan, great, this is Knights of Origo. Oh, they are still alive, I thought they just straight up got replaced by Rapons. Is this the last settlement of the Strigos now? Yeah, it is.
Let me rid you of those.
How much money would they give us for this? 555. Well, we're not getting any friendlier with the Bretonians, so yeah, let's propose this offer. Actually, just out of curiosity. Defensive Alliance would give us 1100, but it's not worth it, they'll probably get us into a war. Let's go trade agreement. Just so that they give us cash.
Fine.
I wonder how much they'd give us to join war against Rapons. 10. Not bad. If they have an extra lord out there somewhere,
The lady's command.
it would be worth our time. Also, you guys have 2 territories, eh? Wait, are you holding Zandri? What are you holding here? What's your second territory? Maybe it's down here, closer to Sudenburg? Oh well. Why do I know my fake geography better than my real geography, damn it? Let's see, Vulture Mountain, I'd prefer to upgrade you, but in fact, we should probably upgrade one of these locations. Let us go... Wow, 9 turns, eh? Oh well. Oh well. It was always bound to be expensive, and you can get more Nehekara warriors, so better Nehekara warriors than the Skeleton warriors. The Nehekara warriors are actually a pretty good unit, so... I wouldn't be complaining too much about building a bunch of them, so let's delete you 2. Build 2 more of these. In fact, we probably don't need this warrior either. We could just replace him with a spear or something. Yeah. Let's do that, and then we could build another archer. We will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's not so bad. I don't want to go too crazy on the skeleton archers because they're frankly kind of garbage, especially because of the lack of armor pierce. They're almost like Skaven slave slingers. They do have 5 times as much armor piercing, don't get me wrong, but we saw 3 of them try to focus down that one Quarreler unit last episode and basically do no damage at all, so yeah. You, Arkhan, I guess it's time for you to go, buddy. Corrupted Dynasties. Let's get you no point because we're saving up for Vengeful. Let's get you a point, however. And let's get you hard to hit then. Keep going through this, though I'm really tempted to skip it for a little bit and go for the good stuff in here. Hard to hit. And before I forget... Oh. Master of Ceremony. That was this guy, right? Yeah. And the spell resistance. Although I would prefer armor early on. The spell resistance actually doesn't provide a crazy amount of value. But I still feel like we need to use Lore of Nehekara. We can always switch to a different here. In fact, what we can do right now is go fleet-footed, delete, then... That's one of the great things about the heroes belonging to the Tomb Kings. You can just do this to mill through them effectively. And let's see, Proficient Caster, don't like it. Delete. Replace with something better, hopefully. And we'll keep Mr. Eternal. But for you, we're gonna get you, Master of Ceremony. And then you will join this army. Well, I guess we probably then won't need that other unit of Skeleton Archers, so we'll delete you. And we'll pop you in there. Beautiful. Alrighty, Arkhan, time for you to go. Are you guys at war with anybody? You are actually at war with the Rockop dynasty. Oh, that's interesting. Who are also at war with the Famished. Would they be willing to give us money to join their war against Knights of Origo? Yes, they would, and they'd be willing to become our vassal. That's funny. There's no point in doing it as we get nothing out of it. I'd rather take the money. Yeah. And the problem there is that they have territory that we'd be wanting to conquer anyway. I mean, I guess we could use them as a bulwark and then later on cancel the vassalization. If we really wanted to, though everybody in the region might hate us for doing this. I've never done such a thing before. How strong are they? They do have armies out there. But then also, the problem with this is it'll allow them to recover, and then once we betray them, they'll become stronger, and then it'll take us longer to go through them. Screw it. Don't even bother. Now let's join their war. Like so, and just to take another look at the Drakenhof Conclave, they're still alive. Not yet to the military access, not yet to the defensive alliance. Where are they fighting currently? Khemri, just like us, and Ironbrow's Expedition. Well, it's inevitable that we fight Ironbrows, so what we can do is say we join war against Ironbrows and get that defensive alliance going as early as possible. This is probably also going to get us into a bunch of other fights very soon, but yes. Yes to this. Oh, I'm gonna be very sad if Volkmar manages to kill Manny before we get down there. Also, Manny is technically holding territory that we might want for ourselves, but I suppose if he survives with 1 or 2 settlements, maybe that would be better. He has a great pyramid here, too. We can always betray him if we ally with Vlad up north, for example. We'll send a hero up there to see if we can get on friendly terms. Let's also outpost, 1,000 gold. I'd rather not, but I don't see much of a choice in the matter. Balefire corpse cart, say? And when we get unholy lodestones, I would appreciate it. Alright. Let's do that for now. Next up, Arkhan. Time for you to fight again, buddy. Let's hit Sir John Tyreweld here.
Do you take me for a child?
Now, we got 2 stacks against us, but once again, we gotta be careful about overkilling them too fast. Away we go. You're not gonna run? You are indeed not gonna run. Oh, this time it says it's a Pyrrhic victory, I guess by virtue of the sheer numbers, and the fact that they have more men-at-arms than mere peasant mobs, but that's just fine. Here we go again.
For my master.
For your master, eh, Arkhan? Not so much for yourself? Arkhan did betray Nagash a couple of times, but they're still besties at the end of the day. Sometimes I feel like Nagash almost treats Arkhan like, almost like a puppy dog. Like, he knows that he might betray him, but he doesn't really care, because he doesn't feel threatened by it. And at the end of the day, Arkhan still works to raise Nagash. They have a complicated relationship, but they're in it to the end, or to the not end, because I guess that's what they want. But anyway, here we go. The HATLESS filthy Bretonians are arrayed before us, and even though there are 5,000 of them, and they had a better, they have a significantly better army than the last time we fought them, the Knights of Origo, I guess, doing better than the Thegan Zerentry, they are still going to lose. I'm going to predict that because they remain hatless. Yes, they have some helmets, but protecting your head? Pathetic. And hoods? Who are you kidding, peasants? No. No, you're never gonna win with those kind of lack of hats, or that kind of headwear. Anyway, we're going to begin this by actually bombarding the enemy, because unlike last battle, it's not just primarily peasant mobs and peasant archers. A decent amount of men-at-arms should mean that the enemy is not going to rout from a single shot. We are, however, going to try to tell our Casket of Souls to actually target this enemy artillery piece. If we can destroy it before it fires a shot, that would be great. Normally, we would send the Hex Wraiths out to do that, but in this particular situation, it doesn't seem likely, especially as they do get spotted by the enemy lord here, who does attack them. Not that that's a big deal, mind you. Also, the relative inaccuracy of the Casket of Souls does work quite decently for us at max range like this, because rather than destroying one unit and immediately forcing it to rout, the inaccuracy just forces it to hit a bunch of units and damage them all a little bit. One of the great things about artillery pieces like this and the Hellstorm rocket batteries and Fire Rain rockets. There we go. Still a ton of splash damage, and considering that Arkhan has the buff of Usirian of the Underworld, he does benefit from using multiple Caskets of Souls, which frankly I would have done anyway, because it's such a great unit. Definitely one of my favorite artillery pieces. I'd actually really love it if we could somehow get friendly with either the Cathians or the Empire, just to get a couple Hellstorms or Fire Rain rockets in our army to combine with Caskets of Souls. It would be an absolutely horrifying amount of artillery, and the Dwarfs and the Skaven both would eat their hearts out in jealousy, I'm sure. Anyway, our Hex Rates did get charged and took a little bit of damage, about 25% HP, but we simply charged them away close enough to Arkhan to allow him to cast his Invocation of Nehek, and then pop them right back into the fray. Now, this Lord will be down shortly, I'm sure, especially as the Tomb Prince is now moving in to help. Otherwise, our ghouls have also moved in because the Lord has spotted them. We might as well just send them into the fight. The ghouls will be fighting the enemy, and then as soon as the enemy men-at-arms are out, they will switch to the next enemy, whereas the hounds, the direwolves, will simply chase after those units that are routing. As we don't want to waste the ghouls, as they're better in a melee fight, I would imagine. And of course they apply their lethal poison as well. Alrighty, nice to see the ghouls fight here. And oh, this one's fighting armless. Huh, interesting. Yeah, this one's fighting armless as well. Almost surprising. Ghouls aren't technically undead. Ghouls are alive. So they shouldn't, well, they're not fighting headless though. So I guess there's that attention to detail. Zombies and skeletons can fight headless, so it is keeping that in mind. I wonder, can regular human soldiers fight on while missing an arm, or is it just because of the deathly vigor of or the frenzied vigor, I suppose, of the ghouls? Interesting. Anyway, it looks like the ghouls are doing a pretty good job advancing and surrounding this main enemy army. Of course, this is only the beginning, as the second stack is moving in, and that's not even all. We have 2 full stacks on the field and more units to come as soon as the enemies actually move away. Unfortunately for them, they're fairly far from the edge of the screen, which, okay, that's going to be annoying with regards to the camera. Camera keeps dropping down into that pit. Yeah, the enemies are pretty far from the edge of the screen, which gives us a pretty major advantage, which will allow our ghouls and our direwolves to chase all of this stuff down, hopefully, while our main line holds. Our Hex Rates and our Tomb Prince have defeated the enemy lord here, and now it's just the main line here. Let's watch. A very nice shot from that Casket of Souls, and we did finally summon a unit of zombies via Raised Dead from Arkhan. Actually kind of bizarre to see them in yellow colors. I wonder, if you overcast Raised Dead with Arkhan, does he raise a couple of vampire counts skeleton warriors, or or does he raise skeleton warriors of the Tomb King variety? I guess we'll see later on. I pretty much never overcasted because, well, frankly, skeleton warriors aren't all that much superior to zombies for the purpose that you're summoning them for, which is tar pitting. And it does look like Arkhan's gonna get a nice little duel against the enemy lord this time. I'm still undecided as to whether we're going to keep him on the steed. It is nice to be able to reposition him, as he is a caster especially, on the one hand, and we will be relying on him to raise dead, probably throughout the campaign. However, on the other hand, he is a bigger target on the skeleton steed. Skeletal, or rather, steed. Anyway, let's see. The enemy certainly seems to have failed to breach our main line. The Lord is running, especially under the ministrations of Arkhan and his little minion White King, and now the Tomb Prince as well is running after the Lord, so he's pretty much done for. Our ghouls have completely broken the army in the background here, mostly now undefended, and it's just peasant bowmen being run down by both of them, the Hex Rates, and the Dire Doggos. We are soon going to contract our lines and fight the rest of the enemy, which are currently standing in the trees, which is a little bit annoying. Usually I don't like watching fights within the woods, but this is the relatively less dense type of woods where you can actually see what's going on in there, so not so bad in my opinion. Alrighty, well, keep advancing, enemy. We still have 2 more units for this to be all the units that are on the field, so plenty more to kill here, though may be beneficial to actually just leave like 1 or 2 units in each of the ones that we chase off, just to let them move off the field for as long as they can, and thus prevent the enemy from getting additional reinforcements. Certainly gonna have to watch out for that. Our single unit of Crypt Ghouls out here did get a little bit caught by a bunch of enemy men-at-arms, and we will need to get another Invocation of the Heck on them. They're also getting shot up by the enemy bowmen, but we're going to move in to reinforce them shortly. The bowmen that were firing on them are now going to start taking hits from our Casket of Souls, and our Hex Wraiths should move in to advance together with Arkhan as well. There we go. Arkhan moving in to help his ghoul pets. And here come the Hex Wraiths. Ah, I love seeing these guys. There we go, very nice Hex Wraiths. There's a good reason that this is one of, if not my favorite units in the entire game. And it's not just effectiveness, they're probably in most situations still going to be inferior to Blood Knights, but I do love their aesthetics. And plus I love the what SFO does with ethereal units, so. But even in vanilla, I still love the unit. Anyway, looks like that unit has been broken and the Crypt Ghouls are saved. They certainly took some damage, but their model losses weren't actually all that bad, only down by 60. Still a decent amount of enemies remains, but we are now nearing Realm of Souls Tier 1. Certainly haven't had access to this a lot throughout the campaign. An Overcast Invocation of the Heck coming down on all of these skeleton warriors as they continue to hold in the woods here. But it does look like most of the enemy army outside of the territory of these woods is pretty much done for. I kind of like the idea that the enemy army that is within the wooded territory is still fighting, not really knowing or seeing outside, and thus not being aware that the rest of their armies have been destroyed, that their lords have routed, and that they're now getting completely surrounded by ghouls and direwolves. Well, at the very least, they can enjoy some zombie killing, and they can feel like they've accomplished something here. Keep it up, zombies. Hold the ground. Oh, looks like the less dense woods also allow us to get some shots in with our skeleton archers, who in a regular wooded territory would probably be missing like 90% of their shots. No, I'm sure they're missing a decent amount here as well. But some are still landing. And not like we're expecting the skeleton archers to do a crazy amount of damage anyway. Here comes some reinforcements, ghouls with their hilarious run. Hitting the back of these poor men-at-arms, and I do believe that's going to morale shock them significantly. The lethal poison combining, and these guys are going to be out of here very shortly as well. Lovely. Mounts of powers at 90%, and who is still fighting? There's still a few units stuck in the woods, but once again, outside them, everything's pretty much done. We're actually not committing like a good 60% or maybe more of our army, because all these ghouls and direwolves are just running around in the background, even our princes, and just chasing stuff off. So are the bats, so are even a couple of our skeleton warriors. It's much more important that we kill units and prevent them from being available to the enemy next round. As in when we attack the settlement. And look at these peasant bowmen fighting back. Isn't that cute? That actually works out well for us. More of their models destroyed while they fight rather than rout and try to get off the screen. Here comes Arkhan, punting peasants. Alrighty, and judging by how many of those units are routing, it looks like we are done. The battle is over and they will fight no longer. Hopefully our Hex Wraiths don't take a hit from the artillery piece, and now. Alrighty, and damn, we were so close to activating that Realm of Souls Tier 2. Would have been nice just to resurrect a few extra units, but oh well. Man, I wonder how long it's going to be until we get access to Tier 3 of the Realm of Souls and finally summon our unit of Ushabti. I can't believe we've had this many battles so far and none of this yet. I guess we need more skeleton warriors on the field, more units to actually take damage in order to activate this. Yeah, the problem is I'm preserving the ghouls from taking too much damage, which is preventing us from activating this, but that's okay. At the end of the day, not getting crazy losses is probably a good thing. Anyway, here we go. And just gonna speed this up as we chase the enemy down, and there are still quite a lot of enemies. One of the great things about having this early game vampiric unit army that Arkhan has, with all these ghouls and direwolves, is that we're really, really strong at chasing enemies down. Other Tomb Kings, especially when they're infantry heavy and don't have a ton of chariots or a ton of horsemen, are really going to struggle at chasing enemies because regular undead are so extremely slow. And there we go, looks like we got most of them, and another 5,000 hatless peasants are going to be buried beneath the sands. Although probably not for long. Alrighty, such is the fate of the hatless Bretonians. Man, look at all those numbers. We lost only 130 troops. The enemy had 4.5k, more than twice our numbers as well. I almost feel bad, but then I remember that they don't have hats. Let's get ourselves, 2,000 gold. Yeah, that's too much to pass up. It's way too much to pass up. That's 2 turns worth of money. So that is exactly what we're gonna take. And damn, our hex rates are already at tier 5, or at rank 5, which I suppose isn't all that surprising considering they've been getting, like, 500 is a lesser amount of kills than they usually get. They just get insane amounts of kills every single battle. You gotta love it. Anyway, Endless March for you. And these remnants are going to run away, but there isn't anything we can do about that right now. And we will auto-resolve you. Yes. Shouldn't be too much damage, I would hope. 6 units lost. More than it should be, but that's fine. Pools of Despair are now ours, and what do we have here? A campaign movement range plus 15 for own armies starting turn in their prom. Wow. Okay. I'm actually going to be curious. So if you go back to regular stance, which we will do, you now have Endless March, so that's a plus 20, plus the 15% out of this. Man, if we only had this entire province to get the Worship of Tra up and running as well for another 20%, I wonder if we'd be able to reach Xandri immediately. And how these guys do hold Xandri. I always tied Xandri, the Port of Terror, to Khemri, and it's always surprising not to see the territory owned by Cetra. Anyway, with that, unfortunately, we are out of time, though I'm sure 'twas a fun time watching all those peasants get their hatless heads chopped off. Next time, we will be keeping an eye on Al-Haik and wait for a response to hopefully take it and destroy this faction. Or, well, actually, if they sack it, it wouldn't be as great. I assume that the Bretonians have the advantage here. Anyway, what we're going to do is probably move Arkhan to Xandri, assuming that these guys don't attack next turn. They will most likely keep sieging. By then, King Jokt will have finished his army, and he will besiege Rapunzel at Al-Haik if she takes it, or otherwise ambush her in the field, while Arkhan moves out here. At the end of the day, if we have to, we will betray this faction, but it doesn't have to be right now, and can always happen later. But hopefully Rapunzel does something useful here. Otherwise, once we're done with the Knights of Origo, since we're not currently at war with the Rakov dynasty, we will be moving southward to the Great Desert of Araby and the book that's out there. We just need to make sure that our territories up here are safe and Arkhan doesn't have to babysit them this entire time. Anyway, stay tuned for more Arkhan. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.